In this video, we're going to be ranking every Defender's Primary in Rainbow Six Siege. For this ranking, I just want to make it clear that I am taking optics into account. I just think I'm going to be too biased if I don't think about it and talk about it in that sense. So it's going to be with the optic included, right? So some operators are only allowed to have 1x's, some are allowed 1.5, and few even the 2x. So that is going to come into effect on the weapons I choose here. With that said, we got the AUG first. The AUG is one gun that is limited to only a 1x. It is on Wamai. The AUG is really strong. It's always going to be nice to have an AR on defense, but you never see anyone play it because everyone's going to play MP5K with a 1.5. Everyone will, I promise you. I couldn't tell you the last time I saw someone play this gun, and honestly it wouldn't blame me if you didn't even know if it was on defense. So we are going to put this in D tier. We'll put it C tier for now, but it'll probably, no, I'm going D tier. It's just it's a 1x, and the AR isn't even really that great. I mean, it does decent damage obviously for a defender gun, but the fire rate is just mediocre at best. So only having a 1x, mediocre fire rate, and the gun is just so big. Like, it takes up so much of your screen, which makes it a little bit of an issue. So I'm gonna rank it D tier. There's just not much reason to be playing it. Next gun up, we have got Jaeger's AR. Now this gun, I would argue, is a little bit better than the AUG. The fire rate is better. You know, recoil's around the same. It's not really that different. But you're also limited to a 1x on this gun currently. So I think that is gonna put it in C tier. Next up, we've got Tubby's DMR. This is a new one recently added, and it's got a 1.5 scope. It's the second DMR on defense ever, so it's definitely been really fun to play and I've been enjoying it. My only problem with this gun is, I mean, it's my own skill or lack of. It's really hit or miss for me. Either I'm getting a bunch of kills with it or I'm doing absolutely nothing. So 11 bullets in the mag is a real struggle, and while I really like having a DMR and I think it's good, it just, like, it's gonna fail you at some point, right? And I mean, that's like partially your own fault, right? But also, if I had a different gun, I would have won that gunfight. So that's kind of my issue with it. So I think that's what's going to put it into C tier. I like it, play it, totally cool with that, but I think it has to stick in C tier. Next up, we've got Thunderbird's AR, the spear. I'm not a big fan of the spear. I feel like it shoots a little tacky, it's a little bit slow firing, and the damage is just okay. With that said, having an AR on defense is really nice, but you're also limited to only a 1x. So it's in a similar position the AUG is in, and at the end of the day, I would rather have the AUG. Maybe? Oh, this is hard. I'm gonna put it just below the AUG, but we might come back to that. Next up, we have Mozzie's Commando. This gun actually feels pretty good. You're limited to only a 1x, so that's a bit of a bummer, but I like how it feels. Obviously the reload animation's sick, we all know that, but I just don't ever play it. I really wish that this was a gun that they would add to a new operator, since we only get one new gun a year. This would be a really good candidate for adding it to one of the new operators. I wish they would have done this over like maybe MPX for Tubby or something like that, but it's just, it's fun. I wish I could play it more, but there's just not a reason when Mozzie's other option is the P10 Roni with a 1.5. I'm just not going to play this. I'm just not. So it's going to be a little bit of a biased ranking. If they add this to another operator and it gets more use and maybe I play it some more, maybe my opinion would change, but I really just think it's fine. Not a ton of damage, not crazy fire rate. It kind of beams, so that's kind of nice, but only a 1x. It's going to go into D tier for now. Next, we've got the UMP. A lot of people don't like the UMP. They don't like how slow it shoots. You might notice a trend in this ranking. If it does good damage and shoots slow, I can deal with that. That's not really a problem. And I find that the UMP does pretty good damage, especially with its low recoil. You can run extended barrel and bump your damage up even more. So I think it's worth playing. You have a 1.5 on both Pulse and Castle, so you can play whoever you want. It's just good. I'm not going to argue it's amazing or anything that spectacular or special, but it's just good, and I think that's what's going to put it into B tier. Next, we have the FMG9. I'm not a big fan of this gun. You've got the 1.5, which is great. It is, but everything else about it is just so lackluster. Your fire rate's decent, your damage is quite terrible, to be honest, and the recoil is a little bit more than I want it to be. I want to play this like I would play an MPX, and the recoil is just not good enough for that. And so I'm never playing this thing, especially because I'm gonna play Smoke Shotgun SMG11, but like I'm never playing this gun. I'm gonna put it E tier. It's not the worst. We'll get to those later, but I am not a fan at all. So it's gonna go E tier for me. Next we have the P90. Now the P90 is mostly played on Solus. It's where most people are gonna be playing it, and there you're limited to a 1x, but Rook and Doc also have the P90 with a 1.5. I don't know what it is about this gun. It is another one of those guns that I am either just like owning with. Like I'll play the P90, I don't know, you know, 3K, 4K, and then you're just like, why don't I always play the P90? Like this thing is amazing. And then I play it next game and I'm like, I'm never playing the P90 again. What was that? That's what I find myself struggling with a lot with this gun. And so it's just too all over the place for me to put it up really high, but I do think it's good. And so it's gonna land into C tier for me. Maybe high C tier, maybe it'll bump up. We'll see where that lands. Next, I've got the MP5K. Now you can play this on mute, obviously, that's where it came from, but we're all playing it on Wamai. And Wamai has the 1.5 with this gun. And it is just so good. Fire rate, solid. Recoil, solid. Damage is all right. But that just the 1.5 with the mix of an all-around good gun, it's just good. It's just really good. And that's gonna put it into A tier for me. It's my favorite gun to spawn peek with because of the low recoil and a 1.5, and I can actually still contribute to the team with my discs over someone like Warden. I mean, you can contribute to the team with Warden, but let's be real, if you're spawn peeking with Warden, you're not playing Warden to contribute to the team. So that gun's going A tier for me. I just love the MP5K. On my specifically, I don't really play it on mute. I'm gonna play Shotgun and SMG11. So next we've got Frost's gun. Now this might be my hottest take of the entire video. I love this gun. It is genuinely one of my favorite in the entire game. I run it with an extended barrel. I'm loading up on that damage. Fire rate, slow, don't care. Don't care, it's good enough. It'll do. It'll do. With all that damage I'm doing, it'll do. No recoil, so much damage, 1.5. Thank you. That's all I need. So it is going A tier for me. I'm gonna put it at the top of A tier. Yell at me as much as you want. I love this gun. I just do. It's going A tier for me. Next, we've got the MP7, just so middle of the road for me. The fire rate's decent, the recoil's not too bad. The damage is only a 1x though. It's definitely going to go, see here's the thing, like if I'm playing Bandit, right? Let's say they just add new guns to Bandit. Would I pick the Commando over the MP7? Or would I pick the Spear or the AUG? Like probably, right? Oh my goodness. I'm making some changes. We're going here with the AUG. It's going up. I made it to C tier. Congratulations, AUG. I think it's held back by the fact that it's only on Wamai and I'm playing the MP5 every time. So that's moving up because I think I'd rather play that over all these guns. Like if Tubarao had the AUG, I'd probably play it. I think I would. I think we're gonna go like this actually. I think I'd play the Commando over the MP7, but I think I'd still play the MP7 over the Spear. I'm just not a big fan of the Spear, so I think it's just gonna go at the bottom of D tier for me. We're gonna shift up the board a little bit. I think I like that a lot better. Oh boy. Okay, next we have Cav's SMG. This gun sucks. It is terrible. And I'm a person who likes guns with slow fire rate. There's just something about it that just hits for me. This is not it. It can't have terrible fire rate and no damage. Slow fire rate and no damage is just never gonna work, especially when you don't give it a 1.5. Why doesn't it have a 1.5? I don't understand. Cav is not that great of an operator. It wouldn't make her overpowered. It'd probably make her a little more viable actually, to actually engage in gunfights, which is her entire, I mean, it's obviously supposed to be close range, but that's what you have the pistol for. It would be very nice to have a gun. You play this as the secondary with a 1.5, right? For your long range encounters that you get forced into at times. So this is going F tier for me. This gun just sucks. It is terrible. I want it with a 1.5 and I think it might be a little bit fun, but yeah, we're putting the spray paint cannon in F tier. Next we've got the MPX. We all know this gun. I mean, how long do we have to talk about it for? No recoil, good fire rate. I mean, the damage is low, but the other two, you're beaming with this thing. You're hitting heads all day, especially with Warden 1.5. It's good on Velk. It's good on Tubarao with the 1x still, but 1.5, forget about it. It's going S tier. This is our first gun making S tier for sure. There's a reason this like ran the game for an entire season before they nerfed Warden's speed, which people still play Warden for this gun. They will. It takes a lot for people to play a 3 armor 1 speed. People do not like that. People will do it for this gun. Still, it's that good. It's going S tier. Here we've got Kapkan and Tachanka's SMG. I love this gun. I used to be Kapkan main when it had 1.5. I still play quite a bit of Kapkan and I still like it with the 1x, but when it had 1.5 on Kapkan, whew, so good. With that said, if you play Tachanka, you've got the 1.5 or the 2x even. One of only a few guns that have the 2x on defense. This gun's good. I don't love it though, but with that 1.5 and 2x on Tachanka, see, this is where it's hard. If I had a 1.5 on Kapkan, this thing's A tier, but on Tachanka, this is where the bias comes in because I just don't like Tachanka that much. But just thinking of strictly the gun, this is with a 1.5 or 2x, I'm gonna put it A tier. Without it, it's probably jumping down to B or C tier, but on Tachanka, with having those sights, it makes it A tier. Now I've got the MP5 SD for Echo. I like this gun a lot. Is it amazing? No, but it is really good. I do really enjoy this gun. 1.5, Echo being a 2-speed now, it's definitely played more. I just like this gun. It's just good. So I think with that being said, I'll put it upper the top of B tier for now, but it definitely might move up to A tier. We'll see where that lands, but the MP5 SD is a really good gun. B tier for sure. Possibly A tier. Possibly. And now this is where we get on a stretch of guns that are just, I mean, we're going on a run here. Okay. First, we've got the Roni. 1.5 on Mozzie. This gun, in the right hands, this gun is just lethal. The fire rate with the lowest recoil, like non-existent recoil, is just insane. The ADS time is great. The only thing that is hurting it is the mag size. This gun's positives just outshine that one flaw. Like, I ain't even thinking about it. This gun's just so good. So it's gonna go S tier, just below the MPX for me, just because of the mag size, but it is so good. Genuinely one of the best guns on defense. Next, we've got the Vector. Now you can play this on Mira, obviously with a 1x, or Goyo with a 1.5. Now people don't play Goyo very much, at least in my experience. It is really good, like so good. The fastest firing primary on defense with a 1.5, and the recoil is not bad. Like, you think it'd be terrible, but it isn't. This gun is awesome. I'm gonna put it at the very top of S tier. I think this is the best gun on defense. It just shreds. It just shreds. That simple as that. Next I've got Alibi's SMG. This gun is amazing. I loved it when it had a 1.5. Now that that's been removed, obviously the gun's still awesome, but it's just not as good. So I think that's what's going to put it into A tier for me. If it had a 1.5, S tier for sure, but it doesn't. Unfortunately, you're stuck with the 1x. For those who love the 1x and have no problem playing the 1x and not having a 1.5, good for you. That's awesome. Play this gun. It's good. If you are in your fragging role for your team, I don't blame you for this at all. Now, Alibi as an operator, I don't think is that great. So make sure you know your role and what your team needs, but this gun can be worth it. Next, I've got the K1A. Everything I just said about Alibi's gun kind of applies to this. Obviously, slower fire rate plays differently. Slower fire rate, more damage, against the Alibi's fast fire rate, lower damage. But it is just solid. It just feels so good. But again, it's on an operator who's a little lackluster and vigil. Now, if you're in the fragging role for your team, that's where you can play this, but you also don't have a 1.5. So that's another thing that's going to hurt it. So I think that's going to get it into A tier, but it's just not going to be at the top with some of these more hard-hitting guns with the 1.5 fast fire rate. Like, it's just not on the same level, but it is really, really good. Definitely A tier. Now we've got the T5. This gun, when it had a 1.5 on Oryx, oh, so good. Like, insane. The fire rate, no recoil. You could run angled, vertical, whatever you wanted on this thing. You were beaming. Now, it was on Oryx, which, yikes, but it was really good. Obviously, they took that away from Oryx, and now no one plays them. So, good job, UB. But you can play it on Legion. Also has, also limited to the 1x, but you actually have a good gadget, which makes this gun completely viable. This gun is awesome. It is going to go A tier for me. I'm going to put it just above the K1A. It just feels a little bit better. Just the faster fire rate with the low recoil combo. I'm just going to take it over just slightly over the K1A. Such a good gun though. Definitely recommend playing that. Now we've got Ella's gun. Ella's gun has been all over the place ever since it was added. Obviously completely running lobbies with this thing when it first added, to having the craziest recoil in the game, to leveling out, to I don't even know. All right, this thing's been through the ringer, but it's pretty decent now. It's got decent recoil. Obviously, you're stuck with a 1x, but the recoil is not too bad. Like, you can play this. It's good. Ella's a good lurking op, right? Playing a room close to objective and kind of holding that pinch. So I think it's gonna go just below the MP5 SD for me. I really like this gun. It's just not on the same level. It's got fast fire rate, but that's like it. It doesn't have good recoil and it doesn't have great damage. So that's what's gonna put it below all the guns above it that have 2 of the 3 being great, right? It's either got good damage and good recoil or fast fire rate and good recoil, things like that. So it's just not gonna be on the same tier as those, but it is very good. Next we have Cade's AUG. Them taking the 1.5 away from this thing was like criminal. It just wasn't that good. Like it wasn't that great to begin with. And now it's even worse. So this is gonna go E tier for me. It's just not great. No one wants to play this. No one's like can't wait to play Cade so I can have the AUG. No, you play this because you have to. You play this because your team needs a Cade, and thank you for doing that. I'm sorry you were stuck with this. You will see later that I don't play this good. So that's going E tier for me. Now we're on to the shotguns. Shotguns are so like all over the place for me, and it's also hard to rank a shotgun because a lot of people play shotguns when they have an SMG 11 secondary to go with it. That's where it gets a little bit biased and the ranking gets a little bit skewed. So I'm gonna try to be as objective as I can with that, but just to make it apparent, that bias might leak in here. First, we've got the M870. This gun's good. Like I like it. It feels good. But like here's the thing. Jaeger has it, right? Am I playing it over Jaeger's AR? No, never. So I think it's gonna go bottom of D tier for me. Bottom of D tier. It's good. I generally don't hate this gun. It's just not what I'm looking to run. I'm not looking forward to running this gun, so it's gonna go D tier. Next, we've got the semi-auto shotgun for Kapkan, all those operators. This thing's good. How good? Kind of kicks. It's got a little bit of a kick to it, a little bit of bite, but you can spam this thing, which is pretty cool. I think I'm gonna put it just above the M870. This gun can wreak havoc in the right situation. It can wreak havoc. Close range, that suppressor, just a wipe rushes up, just completely put them to rest. It has its moments, but it's never gonna be that great, so it's gonna end up in D tier for me. Now we're looking at, the holy grail of the shotguns, right? Like this thing is just amazing. This is definitely the best shotgun in the game, and I think I'm gonna put it in A tier. It is that good. It is that good, and you can actually play it because you have SMG 11 counterpart. Now that doesn't necessarily go into the ranking of this shotgun, but this shotgun just hits consistently, which is the biggest issue with shotguns, right? You shoot 2 feet away from you, they don't die. Obviously, it's a little frustrating. That's been better since the shotgun update, but this gun is just tried and true. It is always consistent. I am regularly getting downs and kills with this gun. I know how it plays. It's going A tier. Now we've got Doc Graham Lion shotgun. Rook. I don't like this gun at all. It shoots so slow. I know pump action is going to, but this one especially, and it just doesn't hit the same as the others. So this is gonna go bottom of E tier for me. It's not terrible. Like it's not like the worst thing I've ever used. It's not good. Simple as that. E tier. I've got the Spaz. This gun sucks. It is terrible. Just the most inconsistent damage out of any of the shotguns. I'd never play this. I never want to play this, and I'm never gonna play it again unless I'm like memeing and casual. This gun is not good at all. I am gonna put it below Cav's gun. It's that bad. F tier completely. Pulse's shotgun. I like this gun. Good semi-auto. You can't shoot it as fast as some of the other semi-autos, but it is good, especially with Pulse and how his gadget works. So I think that's gonna put it up a little higher for me. We're gonna put it just above the Spear, but below the MP7. Solid gun, but not great. Not on any of these other levels. So it's gonna end up in D tier, but not terrible. And you can play it on Pulse. I've never played it on Castle. Don't do that. Don't. But you can play it on Pulse. That's fine. The Super 90. Remember when this was Sniper 90? This thing was sick. That's not the case anymore though. It's gonna go E tier. This gun is semi-auto that's just not consistent. That's the issue with a lot of the semi-autos. They just do not hit consistently, and that's what's hurting them for me. If I'm peeking close range with a shotgun, I want to know I'm gonna get the kill. And with these semi-autos, you just don't know. It's just not consistent enough. It's going E tier. You wanna talk about inconsistent semi-autos? This thing, Legion shotgun. Who plays this? Oh, Knock too, but that's obviously an attacker. But this thing is Carbo, just F tier, whatever. I'm over it. Next, we've got Cav's shotgun, another semi-auto that's a little inconsistent, but I find it to be much better than most. So that's gonna put it up into D tier for me. I'm gonna put it I'm gonna put it right here. It's better than those other shotguns, so it's gonna go up into D tier, which sounds like it's a bad thing. I want to clarify. We're ranking this against all of the guns on defense. A shotgun is always going to be at a disadvantage to an auto, except for close range. So it just makes it really situational, which is what can make them good and what also makes them bad. So that's why it's going to end up in lower D tier, except for the LS shotgun. And this gun is good. This is another shotgun that's just on another level. You want to semi auto shotgun, play this one. This is it. This is what you should be playing. I think it's going to put it into low B tier for me. I like this gun a lot. It is just good. Next, we've got the Mira, but Solus shotgun. You can play this on Solus. It's actually pretty decent. Solid pump action shotgun. I think I'm going to put it just above Pulse's shotgun. It's maybe we'll put it C tier. I think that's where we're going to put it. It's good all around, and playing it with Solus's ability is nice. Obviously, using her impact needs more, but it can be helpful with her ability below the floor. So I think it's gonna go C tier, solid shotgun. That's where I'll put it. Next, got the Supernova. I like this shotgun a lot. Obviously, it's not the best shotgun in the game. We've talked about that one already, but it is really good. I think it's gonna put it into B tier for me. Right about there. It's good. I really like it. I can play it on Echo. You got the bearing 9, obviously that helps, but play it on Echo. Obviously, if you want to play it on attack with Amaru, that's great too. But we're talking about defense here, so on Echo, it's gonna be C tier. Next, I've got Alami's shotgun DMR. Yeah, this gun's good. I mean, obviously it's on more people than just Alibi, but I'm playing it on Alibi. I like this gun a lot. I'm a big fan. I think the large mag size, having that drum mag, and it has good destruction capability, especially for it being like a slug. And I mean, it's full auto, right? So it's good. It's very good. I'm definitely gonna put it, I think, right about there, upper B tier. Really good. I actually play this over the auto on Asami for the most part, most of the time. So that's gonna put a B tier for me. Next, we've got the Boss G. Short and sweet. This gun is trash. Only having 2 bullets, garbage. Cool, you can have whatever sight you want. That's awesome. I don't care. F tier. Now we've got Aruni's DMR. This gun is awesome to have on defense. You have a 1.5. It is a semi-auto, which hurts it a little bit, but just having that sheer damage capability and being able to really contest or compete with attackers' weapons is a huge plus, and that's what's going to put it up into A tier for me. I just needed to decide where. Actually, that was pretty easy. I think right there. I think that is right. A tier for me. Good. Play that. So solid. And Aruni is always going to be helpful to the team. Obviously, sometimes occasions call for a different operator, but and Aruni's never hurting you, right? So good all around operator to play with a good, really good gun. Now we've got Cade shotgun, DMR, but I like this gun. Obviously, it has a smaller mag size than the Alibi one, but you have 1.5, you have 2x, so that's nice to have those options. And let's be real, I hate Cade's other option, so it makes me play this gun. And a lot of time, you need a Cade. He's really good. So I'm playing this gun. And I think with that, I'm gonna put it in B tier, lower B tier, but it is good. Very solid. It kind of like is the saving grace for Cade right now. So I'm gonna put it B tier. Then we got Maestro's LMG. Now this gun. Oh, when it first came out with an ACOG and like the laser beam hipfire, I don't know what they were thinking, bro. I don't know what they were doing. That was a wild time. We're getting some wild stuff. That's when like Ella's Scorpion came out, that this gun came out, and it's just like, but it was fun. I will say that. So I still like this gun a lot. Obviously restricted to only a 1x, but it's still good. It's still very good. So it's gonna go into B tier for me, I'm pretty sure, but where? I think there, upper B tier for me. It's really good. I like playing this gun. Maestro's a little bit better now that he has 3 evil eyes instead of just the 2. So B tier, great gun. All right, only a few guns left here. We've got the MP5. You can obviously play this on Doc, Rook, or Melusi. Now on Melusi, it's kind of terrible because you have a 1x. And Melusi's kind of terrible herself. So not great. On dock, it's good. You have the 1.5, and on rook, you have the 2x, which is really nice to have because you don't have the 2x on very many options on defense, and so that is really, really nice to have. With that said, though, the fire rate is a little bit low, and the damage, like, they're just both a little bit lackluster, right? They're just missing a little bit, so I think that's going to hold it back slightly, but it's good. It is really good. I'm going to put it in the lower part of A tier. It is good. Not the best gun of the game, but very good. I think that's where I'm going to put it, just above the shotgun, just because part of the shotgun's greatness is your secondary, and so taking that secondary away is just going to hurt a little bit. So I think that's what's going to put it into A tier for me. And then we've got Tachanka's gun. This gun is kind of ridiculously amazing now. Obviously you're limited to a 1x, but it does so much damage. I mean, you're two-shotting to the body most ops. It's crazy. And the destruction capability makes it so much fun to play and allows for so many creative plays. There's not a lot of guns you can like make a hole and then shoot long range in 2 seconds. So that makes it kind of unique in that way. And you can help with sight setup, which is obviously helpful. So I'm going to put this in A tier. I think right about there in A tier. The T5 might be better. If you're mad about that, that's fair. I don't actually know. I'm gonna put it there. T5 might be better. They're neck and neck. If you pick the T5, great. Not wrong. But I'm gonna put it into A tier. So good, so much damage. That LMG is awesome. And one gun that I don't have on this tier list that we need to rank today is Thorn's SMG. I really like Thorn's SMG. This is on my trend of slow fire rate, high damage guns. So take that as you will. But it is going to go, I mean, in A tier for me. It is remarkable, very good gun. I would put it probably right here in the 5 slot. Second highest in A tier, 5 slot overall on the list. It is that good. The damage, quick reload, the fire rate's really not that bad, and you have a 1.5 now. It's very solid. It's gonna go in that number 5 spot in A tier. It's so good. With that being said, thank you for watching. Please leave a comment down below. What do you hate? What do you love? I don't know. Tell me anything. I don't care. I'm there. I'm listening. And be sure to check out the attacker video if you haven't seen it. I ranked all the attackers' primaries, and I got some interesting feedback on that. So please go check that out. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one.